Welcome back. This channel exists because of your support. Subscribe, hit like, and share your thoughts in the comments. Now let's get into the story. Have you ever watched someone destroy themselves with a single sentence? I don't mean metaphorically or over time. I mean literally watch their entire world crumble because they couldn't keep their contempt hidden for just one more hour. That's exactly what happened when my wife Jennifer decided that humiliating me in front of our closest friends was more important than our 9-year marriage. It was a Saturday night in early October, one of those perfect Baltimore evenings where the heat finally breaks and you can actually sit outside without drowning in humidity. We were hosting our monthly dinner party at our townhouse in Federal Hill. Nothing fancy, just good food, decent wine, and the kind of relaxed conversation you only get with people you've known for years. 8 of our closest friends filled our dining room that night. Keith and Monica Warren, my college buddies who I'd known for 15 years. Gordon and Stephanie Cross, Jennifer's colleague from work and her husband. Patrick and Helen Yu, our neighbors who lived just 2 blocks away. And Dennis and Claire Hoffman, a couple we'd met at the gym about 5 years back. The evening had been going perfectly. We'd made it through appetizers and dinner, and everyone was on their 3rd glass of wine. That comfortable buzz where conversations get honest, but not sloppy. I just finished telling everyone about my recent promotion to lead architect at work. The trip to Pittsburgh had gone well, and I was genuinely excited about leading my own team. Jennifer had been quiet during my story. I noticed she kept checking her phone and refilling her wine glass, but I didn't think much of it. She'd had a rough week at work. I figured she was just tired. The conversation drifted the way it always does with good friends and good wine. Keith started talking about how he and Monica had just renovated their basement themselves, and Gordon jumped in with a self-deprecating joke about how he could barely hang a picture frame without hiring someone. Patrick laughed. Same here, man. Helen won't let me touch anything after the deck disaster of 2023. Everyone chuckled. It was that easy, comfortable kind of teasing that happens between couples who know each other well. Actually, I said, taking a sip of my beer, I finally fixed that leaking faucet in our kitchen last weekend and reinstalled the cabinet hinges that were coming loose. Keith raised his glass. That's great, man. Saves so much money doing it yourself. That's when Jennifer sat up straighter. I saw the shift in her energy, but I didn't understand it yet. I should have. Oh, please, she said, her voice cutting through the warm atmosphere like ice water. Let's be honest here. The table went slightly quieter. Something in her tone made everyone pay attention. What do you mean? I asked, genuinely confused. Jennifer turned to face me directly, and I saw something in her expression that made my stomach tighten. It wasn't playful. It was sharp. The faucet. She made air quotes with her fingers. You fixed it? Yeah, I said slowly. It's not leaking anymore. It took you 4 hours, she said to the whole table, her voice dripping with amusement. And 3 trips to Home Depot. A few people gave uncomfortable laughs. The kind you make when you're not sure if you should be laughing. Jennifer wasn't done. She leaned back in her chair, emboldened by the attention. And the cabinet. He had to watch 7 YouTube videos to figure out how to put in 3 screws. I felt heat rising in my face, but I kept my voice steady. I got it done, though. She took a long sip of her wine, and then she said it. The sentence that would end our marriage. She looked right at me with this smirk on her face and said, Wow, that's really all you've got? 4 hours for a faucet most men could do in 20 minutes? Dead silence. The phrase most men hung in the air like smoke. I watched it register on everyone's faces. Keith's eyes widened slightly. Monica's face flushed red with secondhand embarrassment. Gordon suddenly found his wine glass fascinating. Stephanie, Jennifer's own colleague, looked genuinely shocked. Helen gripped Patrick's hand under the table so hard I could see her knuckles turn white. Claire actually mouthed, "Oh my God," to Dennis. But I didn't look at any of them for long. I kept my eyes on Jennifer's face. I watched her take another sip of wine, that smirk still playing at the corners of her mouth. She looked pleased with herself, like she'd just delivered the punchline to a brilliant joke. She was waiting for everyone to laugh with her. Nobody did. The silence stretched and stretched. It was Gordon who finally cleared his throat and said, Hey, anyone want more wine? Jennifer seemed to notice the reaction then, or lack of it. What? She said, looking around the table. I'm just being honest. We're all friends here. That's when I felt it. Not embarrassment. Not hurt. Something much colder and much more dangerous. Clarity. This wasn't about a faucet. This wasn't even about the YouTube videos or the trips to Home Depot. This was about my promotion. This was about me sharing good news, about me being successful, about me having a moment where I wasn't the butt of a joke. And she couldn't stand it. You're absolutely right, Jennifer, I said, my voice calm and level. She looked surprised at my tone. Everyone looked surprised. We should always be honest with friends, I continued. The smile started to fade from her face. Something in my calmness was clearly wrong to her. This wasn't how I usually reacted. Usually I'd laugh it off, maybe make a joke at my own expense, move the conversation along. Not tonight. Monica suddenly stood up. Oh wow, is it 10:30 already? We've got an early morning tomorrow. Keith was on his feet immediately. Yeah, we should get going. It was like watching dominoes fall. Gordon and Stephanie were next. Long drive back to our place. Patrick and Helen were already grabbing their coats. Thanks so much for dinner. Dennis and Claire were the last ones out. Claire hugged me at the door, longer than usual, and whispered, "That was really mean." Within 20 minutes, our house was empty. It was only 9:45. The party had clearly ended early, and everyone knew why. I stood at the door after seeing the last couple out. Keith had gripped my shoulder and said quietly, "Call me tomorrow, okay?" The look in his eyes wasn't pity. It was worse. It was recognition. The recognition that I'd been living a lie and he'd been watching it happen. When I closed the door and turned around, Jennifer was already in the kitchen cleaning up. She was actually humming. Humming like she'd had a perfectly normal evening, like she hadn't just nuked our marriage in front of everyone we knew. "Well, that was a nice evening," she said without looking at me. Everyone seemed to have fun. I stood there watching her load the dishwasher, and that cold clarity in my chest spread through my entire body. She thought this was over. She thought she'd gotten away with it. She thought I was the same man who would swallow his pride and pretend nothing happened. "You just humiliated me in front of our friends," I said. She turned around, irritation already creeping into her expression. "Oh, come on, Brian. Don't be so sensitive." Sensitive. Interesting word choice. "It was a joke," she said, turning back to the dishes. "You always take everything so seriously. Tell me what was funny about it." She stopped. "What? The joke? Explain the punchline to me. Help me understand what part was supposed to make people laugh." "You're overreacting," she said, but there was an edge to her voice now. "Everyone knows I was kidding." I pulled out my phone. "Let's ask them." Her whole body tensed. "Don't you dare." "Why not?" I looked at her evenly. "If it was such a harmless joke, they'll tell me I'm overreacting, right?" I opened my messages and started typing to Keith. "Hey man, quick question. Was Jennifer's comment about the faucet just a joke, or did that seem mean-spirited to you?" "You're being ridiculous," Jennifer said, but her voice had lost some of its confidence. My phone buzzed. Keith's response came in less than 30 seconds. "Dude, that was brutal. Monica's been talking about it since we got in the car. We're both really uncomfortable with how she talked to you." I showed her the screen. Her face went pale. Another buzz. "Monica this time. Is everything okay? That wasn't funny at all. She basically called you incompetent in front of everyone." Then Gordon. "Man, that was awkward. Stephanie is upset because she works with Jennifer and is worried about Monday being weird." Patrick's text. "Helen wants to know if you're all right. We left because it felt wrong to stay after that." Jennifer tried to grab my phone, but I pulled it away easily. Dennis and Claire. We were shocked. "That's not how you talk about someone you love." "Stop it," Jennifer said. "Stop it right now." "They're not laughing, Jennifer," I said, showing her the growing list of messages. "See, here's what you didn't understand. You thought humiliating me would make you look clever. Instead, you showed 8 people exactly how little respect you have for your husband. You're blowing this completely out of proportion," she said, but her hands were shaking now. "Am I?" I looked at her hard. "Or is this just the first time I've called you out in front of witnesses?" "What's that supposed to mean?" "You know exactly what it means." I started listing them off. 2 months ago, you told my parents I was hopeless with money at Sunday dinner. Memorial Day barbecue, you made a joke about my dad bought in front of my brother's new girlfriend. 4th of July, you commented on my pathetic grilling skills to the neighbors. Last month, you posted on Facebook about my adorable attempt at assembling furniture. With each example, her face got paler. I let every single one slide. I continued. Told myself you were just being playful. Just your sense of humor. But that's not what this is it? Those were jokes. No, jokes are funny. What you do is systematic disrespect disguised as humor. I stepped closer, and I saw your face tonight when I was talking about my promotion. She went very still. You couldn't stand it, could you? Me getting recognition. Me being successful. Me having a moment that wasn't about you. That's not. So you had to take me down a peg. Had to remind everyone that I'm just your incompetent husband who needs YouTube videos to fix a faucet. The silence between us was different now. Heavier. Here's what's going to happen, I said, my voice deadly calm. You're going to pack a bag tonight. You're going to stay somewhere else while I figure out what I want to do. Her eyes widened. What? You heard me. This is my house too, she said, anger replacing the fear in her voice. You can't kick me out. Watch me. You want to talk about what men can and can't do? Let's discuss what this man won't do anymore. I won't accept disrespect in my own home. I won't stay married to someone who gets pleasure from diminishing me. And I sure as hell won't share a bed tonight with someone who just announced to our friends that she thinks I'm inadequate. She stared at me like she was seeing a stranger. You can't be serious. Do I look like I'm joking? I held her gaze. Do I sound like I'm playing games? Okay, she said quickly. Okay, I'm sorry. I had too much wine. I'll apologize to everyone tomorrow. You think an apology fixes this? What do you want from me? I want you to understand that actions have consequences. You chose to disrespect me publicly. The consequence is that I no longer trust you, like you, or want you near me. One comment doesn't end a marriage, she said desperately. You're right. One comment doesn't. But years of small disrespects, casual put-downs, and treating me like someone you settled for, that ends a marriage. Tonight was just the moment you said it loud enough for everyone else to hear what I've been living with. I walked past her and headed upstairs. She followed me. Brian, please, let's talk about this. I went to the closet and pulled out her suitcase, the large one she used for business trips. Where are you going? She asked. To get your suitcase, since you seem to be having trouble understanding that I'm serious. When I brought it down and set it on our bed, she sat down hard on the edge of the mattress, her head in her hands. This is insane, she said. You're destroying our life over one stupid comment. No, I said, unzipping the suitcase. You destroyed our life with one stupid comment. I'm just refusing to pretend it didn't happen. I opened her dresser drawer and started pulling out clothes. She didn't move to stop me. You have 30 minutes to pack whatever else you need, I said. Anything you leave behind, I'll box up and you can arrange to pick it up later. You can't throw me out of my own house. Watch me. You want to play games about what's big and what's small? Let's talk about the size of my patience. It's officially gone. My phone kept buzzing. More friends checking on me. Each notification was another nail in the coffin of her version of events. She looked at the messages, at the suitcase, at my face. Finally, she seemed to understand that this wasn't a negotiation. This wasn't a fight she could win by wearing me down or making me feel guilty. Fine, she said, standing up. But don't think this is over. You're absolutely right, I said. It's not over. It's completely finished. There's a difference. She started throwing clothes into the suitcase with angry, jerky movements. I watched from the doorway. Part of me couldn't believe this was happening. Part of me couldn't believe it had taken this long. When she slammed the suitcase shut, she wheeled it to the bedroom door and turned to look at me. This is a mistake you're going to regret, she said. The only mistake I regret is not doing this sooner. She stared at me for a long moment, probably expecting me to crack, to show some sign that I'd come to my senses and beg her to stay. Last chance, she said. You're right. This is your last chance to leave with whatever dignity you have left. The color drained from her face. She grabbed the suitcase handle and walked down the stairs. I followed her to the front door. She stopped with her hand on the doorknob. We can forget this whole thing happened. No, Jennifer, we can't. The door slammed behind her hard enough to rattle the windows. I watched through the blinds as she threw her suitcase in her Honda Accord and peeled out of the driveway like she was escaping a crime scene. The house felt different immediately. Not empty. Peaceful. I stood there for a minute, just breathing in the silence. Then I picked up my phone and looked at all the messages that had come in. They weren't just checking on me. They were revealing things I never knew. Keith, we saw Jennifer at Whole Foods this morning already telling people you freaked out over nothing. Monica shut her down. She's been talking about you at yoga class for months, saying you're incompetent. Gordon, Jennifer's been making comments at work. Said you got your promotion through connections, not merit. Patrick, we've heard undermining comments for 2 years. Thought it was her humor. We should have said something. Each message confirmed the pattern. Years of systematic reputation destruction while smiling to my face. My phone rang. Jennifer's sister, Amy. You need to fix this, she said. She's crying, saying you threw her out over nothing. She humiliated me in front of our friends and has been doing it behind my back for months. She made one comment while drinking. You're being dramatic. Did your ex-husband ever make jokes about you to his friends? Ever embarrass you publicly, then call you dramatic? Silence. Don't defend behavior you wouldn't tolerate yourself. I hung up. Within an hour, my phone was buzzing with calls from her family and mutual friends. Everyone had an opinion about how I should handle this. Everyone thought I was overreacting. Everyone wanted me to be the bigger person and work it out. But here's what none of them understood. I was being the bigger person. The bigger person doesn't accept disrespect. The bigger person doesn't pretend humiliation never happened. The bigger person sets boundaries and enforces them. I turned off my phone and went upstairs to our bedroom. Her side of the closet was half empty now, and I realized I wasn't sad about it. I was relieved. I pulled out my laptop and started making lists. Joint accounts to separate. Shared subscriptions to cancel. Legal steps to research. I wasn't being impulsive or emotional. I was being thorough. By midnight, I had a complete action plan. First thing in the morning, I'd visit the bank and protect our finances. Then I'd call a lawyer, not to threaten her, but to understand my options and protect my interests. Some people might call this cold or calculated. I called it decisive. I slept better that night than I had in months. Sunday morning, I woke up at 7 with more energy than I'd felt in years. No walking on eggshells. No wondering what mood she'd be in. No bracing myself for the next casual insult disguised as a joke. By 9, I'd made my list over coffee. Document everything. Secure finances. Legal consultation. Inform key people with facts. Protect professional reputation. I sent a group text to everyone who'd been at dinner, except Jennifer. Hey everyone. Thanks for coming last night. I want to address what happened. Jennifer's comment crossed a line for me. I've asked her to stay elsewhere while I figure out next steps. I appreciate that you all recognized how inappropriate it was. No need to choose sides. Just wanted you to know the situation. The responses came fast. Keith, we support you 100%. That wasn't okay, and we told her so when we saw her at Whole Foods this morning. Wait, they saw her this morning? Keith continued. She was telling people you freaked out over nothing and need therapy for your anger issues. Monica shut that down real quick. Told her we were all there and knew exactly what happened. So she was already rewriting history. Already making me the villain. Monica added her own message. She's been telling people at yoga class for months that you're incompetent around the house. I never said anything because I thought it was just venting. I'm so sorry. Gordon, Stephanie is really uncomfortable. Jennifer's her boss and has been making comments about you at work. She said you got your promotion through connections, not merit. We didn't realize she was serious. Each message was another piece of the puzzle. She hadn't just disrespected me at home. She'd been running a campaign against me everywhere. Her workplace, her yoga class, her book club, our friends. By 10, I was at the M&T Bank branch on Light Street. I explained the situation to the manager, a professional woman in her 50s who nodded like she'd seen this before. I need to protect my finances, I said. We're separating. Smart move, she said quietly. Protect yourself first. Sort out the details later. She helped me remove Jennifer from our primary checking account and open a new personal account. I couldn't touch the joint savings without both signatures, but I could redirect my direct deposit and make sure my paychecks weren't going into an account she could drain. I see this more than you'd think, the manager said as I signed the paperwork. Protecting yourself financially isn't mean. It's smart. At 11, my phone rang. Amy again, calling from a different number. What the hell is wrong with you? She demanded. Did Jennifer tell you what she actually said to me? I asked. She made a little joke and you lost your mind. Would you like to hear what our friends said about it? I don't care what. She's been bad-mouthing me for years, Amy. To her coworkers, to her friends, to our neighbors. Last night was just the first time I stopped pretending it was okay. There was a pause. She said you have anger issues. I asked her to leave calmly. I packed her suitcase. I didn't raise my voice once. Ask Keith and Monica. They saw her this morning, and she was already lying about what happened. She's my sister. And she's my wife who just humiliated me publicly. Which one of us do you think is telling the truth? She hung up. At 1 o'clock, I got a text from Jennifer herself. She must have borrowed Amy's phone since I'd blocked her number. I'm staying at Amy's. We need to talk. I typed back. We do need to talk. Through lawyers. You can't be serious. Monday morning, I'm consulting an attorney. I suggest you do the same. Over one comment. Over years of disrespect that I'm just now learning the full extent of. Keith told me what you said at Whole Foods this morning. You're still doing it. I was upset. You were lying. You told them I need therapy for anger issues. I calmly asked you to leave. You're rewriting history, and I have 8 witnesses who know the truth. No response for 3 hours. At 4, she tried calling from Amy's phone. I answered. Please, she said, crying. Can we just talk face to face? What's left to say? I love you. I made a mistake. You made a choice, Jennifer. And you made it in front of everyone who matters to us. I'll do anything. Counseling, whatever you want. What I want is to not be married to someone who thinks so little of me that she announces it to dinner parties. It was the wine talking. No, wine doesn't create thoughts. It reveals them. You think I'm inadequate. You've apparently thought it for years and told everyone except me. That's not true. Monica told me about yoga class. Gordon told me about your office. You've been running a PR campaign against me while sleeping in my bed. I was just venting. Everyone complains about their spouse. There's a difference between venting and systematic character assassination. You crossed that line a long time ago. I hung up and blocked Amy's number 2. The rest of Sunday, I cleaned the house. Not because it needed it, but because I needed to do something with my hands. Every time I found something of hers, a book on the coffee table, her favorite mug in the cabinet, her jacket on the coat rack, I put it in a box by the door. Monday morning, I went to work early. My first stop was HR. I wanted to give you a heads up, I told the director, a sharp woman named Patricia who I'd always respected. My wife and I are separating. She works at a competing firm in marketing. I wanted you to be aware in case she tries to spread any false information. Patricia's expression shifted to something like concern mixed with appreciation. I appreciate you letting us know. Can I be honest with you? Please. We've actually had some concerns, she said carefully. My stomach dropped. What kind of concerns? We heard through networking channels that someone was questioning how you got your promotion, suggesting it was favoritism rather than merit. I closed my eyes. Let me guess. The source was connected to Jennifer's company? We didn't know it was your wife at the time, Patricia said. But yes, that makes it actually worse. We spent the next 30 minutes documenting everything. She assured me it wouldn't affect my position, but she wanted everything on record in case Jennifer tried to escalate. At lunch, Gordon texted me. Stephanie just told me Jennifer called in sick today. Then another message. Her boss apparently heard about Saturday night. Someone from the dinner party knows someone at her company. Baltimore's marketing community is small. I sat at my desk thinking about that. Baltimore really was a small town when it came to professional circles. Everyone knew everyone, which meant Jennifer's behavior at that dinner party hadn't stayed private. It couldn't. Not with 8 witnesses who all had their own professional networks. By mid-afternoon, my phone rang with an unfamiliar number. I almost didn't answer. Brian? This is Patricia Mitchell, Jennifer's mother. I braced myself. Hello, Patricia. I owe you an apology, she said, which was not what I expected. You don't owe me anything. Yes, I do. I raised her better than this. What she did to you, the way she's been talking about you, it's not the woman I thought I raised. I stayed quiet, not sure what to say. I called her after I saw some messages from mutual friends. Patricia continued. I asked her if what happened was true. She couldn't deny it. Just kept saying you were being too sensitive. I'm sorry this is affecting your family, I said. Don't apologize. You're the one who was wronged here. I just want you to know that not all of us are defending her behavior. Some actions don't deserve defending. After we hung up, I sat there for a long time. Even Jennifer's own mother could see what she'd done was wrong. At 3 o'clock, I had my consultation with Richard Brenner, a family law attorney with an office in the Inner Harbor. I brought everything. Timeline of events. Printed text messages. Documentation of her false statements. Richard looked through it all with increasing interest. This is one of the most organized cases I've seen, he said. I'm a software architect. Documentation is what I do. He smiled slightly. Maryland is a no-fault divorce state, but this pattern of behavior supports your position strongly. The good news is that given the public nature of her actions and the professional implications, I think she'll want to settle quickly. Why? Because if this goes to court, all of this becomes public record. Her employer, her colleagues, her professional network, everyone will see the full extent of her behavior. She'll want this quiet. We discussed the process. Maryland required a 12-month separation for traditional divorce, but we could pursue mutual consent with a settlement agreement and skip the waiting period entirely. Given what you've described, I'd recommend pushing for mutual consent, Richard said. She'll want this over fast. Use that to your advantage. I paid the retainer and left with homework, a complete list of all our assets, debts, and shared accounts. That evening, Monica posted something on Facebook. She hadn't asked my permission, but I didn't mind. Sometimes you witness something that makes you reevaluate what you thought you knew about people. Cruelty disguised as humor isn't funny. It's just cruelty. Proud of people who refuse to accept disrespect, even from those they love. She didn't name names. She didn't have to. Within an hour, it had 89 likes and 34 comments. People sharing their own stories about public humiliation by partners. Friends expressing support. Jennifer tried to respond from Amy's Facebook account since I'd blocked her. Going through a difficult time. Please respect my privacy. Not everything you hear is the whole story. Keith commented within minutes. The 8 of us who were there know the whole story. She deleted the post an hour later. The next few weeks brought revelations that confirmed leaving was the right choice. Jennifer tried connecting with my coworkers on LinkedIn. My boss mentioned it. Your wife is reaching out to our whole team. We're separating, I said. She's probably trying to maintain connections. He gave me a look. Or gather information. Be careful. She started therapy, making sure I knew through Amy's texts. My therapist says you're being unreasonable. I didn't respond. Her college friend Meredith called me. She's struggling, but then she laughed about it. Said you're being dramatic. It made me uncomfortable. Nothing about this seems funny. Another crack in Jennifer's support system. 3 weeks after the dinner party, Stephanie requested a transfer to a different team at her company. She told Gordon it was because she couldn't work under Jennifer anymore. Everything you said made me see her management style differently, Stephanie told him. She doesn't just undermine you. She makes jokes about everyone's competence. It's her pattern. Apparently, Jennifer's company HR was now paying attention. For weeks in, Jennifer showed up at the house. She still had her key. I hadn't changed the locks yet because my lawyer advised me that I couldn't legally lock out a co-owner without a court order. I was working from home when I heard the door open. Brian, she called out. We need to talk. I came downstairs. She looked terrible. She'd lost weight, and there were dark circles under her eyes. Her hair needed washing, and her clothes didn't quite fit right. You should have called, I said. You blocked me. There's a reason for that. She stood in our living room looking lost. I'm falling apart. That's not my responsibility anymore. She flinched like I'd slapped her. How can you be so cold? How could you be so cruel? For years? I don't know. The words burst out of her. I don't know why I did it. It was the first real admission I'd heard from her. That's something you need to figure out, I said. But not with me. I'll change. I'm already in therapy. You should stay in therapy. For yourself. Not for us. There's no us anymore. I looked at her, really looked at her, and felt nothing but tired sadness. You killed us when you smirked and said I wasn't man enough. There's no coming back from that. She left crying. I called a locksmith that afternoon. By 5 p.m., she no longer had a key to my house. I texted her through Richard, my lawyer. I've changed the locks. This is my space now. Your attorney can arrange property retrieval of your remaining belongings. November brought mediation. We sat in a sterile conference room, lawyers on either side of a long table. Jennifer looked worse than when I'd last seen her. Whatever weight she'd lost, she hadn't found it again. Her attorney opened with an offer. Ms. Mitchell is willing to attend marriage counseling. Richard didn't even blink. Mr. Lawson is pursuing divorce. The question is terms. Jennifer looked directly at me. Please, Brian, don't do this. You did this, I said calmly. I'm just finishing it. The asset discussion was straightforward. The townhouse in Federal Hill we'd bought in 2018 for $425,000 was now worth about $580,000. We had $67,000 in joint savings. My 401k had $180,000. Hers had $95,000. 2 cars. No children, thankfully. I made my offer. I keep the house and buy her out at current market value. 50-50 split of savings. Each keeps their own retirement accounts. Each keeps their own car. I'll pay her $15,000 to close this quickly, and she signs an NDA about our marriage details. Jennifer's attorney looked surprised. That's actually quite generous. Jennifer's voice was bitter. He's buying his freedom. I'm buying my dignity back, I corrected. She tried to negotiate. Wanted 60-40 split of everything. Richard shut it down immediately. Your client's behavior is documented by multiple witnesses. We can go to court if she prefers, but I don't think that serves her professional interests. Her attorney leaned in and whispered urgently to her. Jennifer's face went through several emotions before settling on resignation. She signed. December 20th, we stood in front of a judge in Baltimore Circuit Court. Both parties consent to dissolution of marriage? The judge asked. Yes, Jennifer said quietly. Yes, I said. Marriage dissolved. Good luck to both of you. 11 weeks from incident to final decree. One of the fastest divorces on record, according to the clerk. Outside on the courthouse steps, Jennifer tried one more time. I hope you're happy, she said. I will be. Eventually. Was I really that terrible? I thought about it honestly. You were terrible to me, and you did it with a smile. I never stopped loving you. You never really respected me, I said. Love without respect is just possession. I walked away without looking back. By March, 6 months after that dinner party, my life looked completely different. I'd been promoted again at work, senior solutions architect, leading a team of 12, making $145,000 a year. My boss commented on how focused I'd been. Without constant stress at home, I can actually concentrate, I told him. Keith and Monica invited me to everything now. We always wanted to include just you, Monica admitted one night. But she made everything difficult. Dennis got me into rock climbing. Patrick helped me renovate my home office. The irony wasn't lost on me. I was doing more home improvement now than I ever had during my marriage, and I was actually enjoying it. I was at Woodbury Kitchen for a work dinner when I saw her. Jennifer was across the restaurant with a man, looked like a date. She looked better than she had at the courthouse. Hairstyled, makeup done, nice dress. But when she smiled at her date, it looked forced. He was talking, and she was on her phone. I recognized the body language. She was bored. She glanced up and saw me. Her face fell. I nodded politely and turned back to my colleague. No anger. No hurt. Just nothing. Complete indifference. It was the most freeing feeling I'd experienced in years. Outside after dinner, she accidentally left at the same time. Brian. Hi. Jennifer. Awkward silence. You look good, she said. Thanks. So do you. That was my boss. Work dinner. Okay. I didn't care, but I was polite. I've been thinking about what you said. About respect. That's good. Self-reflection is healthy. Do you think? I mean, could we ever? No. She stopped. You don't even want to hear what Jennifer, I spent months discovering how little you thought of me. You told yoga instructors, co-workers, friends, neighbors. You poisoned every well. Even if I could forgive that, I can't forget it. Her eyes filled with tears. I was insecure about your success. I know. Your mom told me about your dad. She looked shocked. She did? Patterns repeat until we break them. I hope you break yours, but you'll do it without me. I don't know how to stop hating myself for what I did. I meant this kindly, not cruelly. That's between you and your therapist. I'm not your redemption arc. She nodded, tears falling. I really did love you. Maybe you did, I said. But you didn't like me. There's a difference. I walked to my car, feeling lighter with every step. 2 weeks later, I hosted my own dinner party. Same townhouse, completely redecorated. I invited Keith, Monica, Gordon, Stephanie, Patrick, Helen, Dennis, and Claire. Plus 4 new friends from work and the climbing gym. 12 people total. The laughter was different. Easier. Real. Gordon pulled me aside at one point. This feels different than before. Because everyone here actually likes each other, I said. Later, Keith caught me alone in the kitchen. You know what the real difference is? You're not walking on eggshells in your own home anymore. I realized I hadn't thought about Jennifer in 3 days. That was progress. Standing in my kitchen, Surrounded by people who genuinely enjoyed my company, I understood something important. 6 months ago, I thought my wife had destroyed me with one comment. Turns out, she'd freed me. She wanted to show everyone I wasn't enough. Instead, she showed me I'd been enough all along, just for the wrong person. Her smirk cost her everything. Her marriage, her reputation, her career momentum, the respect of her own mother. My response cost me nothing but dead weight. I fixed that faucet in 4 hours. It only took her 10 seconds to break our marriage. But both are fixed now, and I'm the one who did the work. Dear listeners, that's our ending. If it resonated, subscribe to support the channel. See you next time.